Opening line. If you thought you'd seen everything this NFL season, nope. The Seattle Seahawks just ripped the script out of the Los Angeles Rams' hands, erased a 16-point fourth quarter hole, and walked off with a 38-37 overtime win on a truly bonkers two-point conversion. Buckle up. This one gets weird, heroic, and absolutely must-see. Start with the moment. The Rams were in control. Matthew Stafford and Puka Nacua had the kind of half where everything looked easy. Los Angeles led 30-14 with 8 minutes left, and for all intents and purposes, you could already smell the Rams' victory. Then Seattle kicked off a sequence that will live rent-free in NFL highlight reels for months. A 58-yard punt return touchdown by Rashid Shaheed that suddenly made the game interesting. A quick offensive score, a replay mystery on a two-point try that turned out to be a lateral fumble recovery in the end zone, and suddenly 30-30 with plenty of time left. If you blinked, you missed a full drama arc. Why this comeback was different? First, momentum flipped in an instant. Special teams, Shaheed's return, gave Seattle a spark that changed the energy in the building. That's playmaking that literally rewrites the game plan for both teams. The Rams had to stop playing prevent and start chasing. Second, the Seahawks didn't just squeak back. They finished drives when it mattered. Sam Darnold, who'd been under siege earlier, mixed calm pocket throws with some clutch improvisation. Jackson Smith-Njigba and Kenneth Walker III did the short yardage and chunk plays. Those were the little things that turned into big things. Third, chaos officiating plus replay theater. The weirdest play of regulation was the two-point conversion that looked incomplete. Then after review was ruled a backward pass and a recovery in the end zone. Seattle gets the two and the score ties. It was a reminder that in the NFL, the rules are precise, and sometimes the game's most dramatic moments come down to an inch, a hand, and the replay booth. What the Rams did right, then wrong, Los Angeles executed perfectly for 3 quarters. Stafford looked every bit the veteran leader. Puka Nacua made the contested catches, Blake Corum powered short yardage, and the Rams defense generated stops. In overtime, Stafford even converted a clutch 41-yard strike to Nacua for a touchdown. You could see the finish line. Where it unraveled was composure. After taking the OT lead, the Rams left just enough time and a handful of soft tackles that allowed Seattle to answer. Then, on the final play, the Seahawks went for the win instead of taking the safe route to a tie, and the gamble paid off. The Rams' offense had given them a shot, but their defense couldn't close the door. In the NFL, sometimes the margin between clutch and collapse is who finishes the job on the 4th or 5th play after a huge moment. Players who mattered. Sam Darnold got knocked around early, but his late-game coolness was the narrative pivot. He threaded key throws and kept drives alive when Seattle needed a quarterback who could get it done under pressure. Jackson Smith-Njigba came through in the clutch. With the game on the line, he made the play that set up the final chance and was the primary target on that final OT touchdown drive. Puka Nacua and Matthew Stafford. They kept the Rams competitive all day. Stafford's OT touchdown was textbook veteran execution. If you're LA, you aren't tearing up the film room over the offense. You're asking why you couldn't get the defense to finish the job. Kobe Turner's weird coverage NT lookalike and the replay drama also deserve a shout. This game was chaotic in ways that will fuel hot takes for a week. 2 big X-factor takeaways and 1 wild stat. 1, special teams win games. The 58-yard punt return was the ignition. Teams can obsess over analytics and matchups, but one single return, game on the line, can change everything. Coaches, continue to undervalue it at your peril. 2, going for the win in overtime is back. The Seahawks had the guts to go for 2 in OT and convert. That decision, aggressive, high variance, high reward, is emblematic of modern NFL tendencies. Why play safe when you can seize control? It'll spark debates about coaching philosophies all week. Wild stat narrative kicker. Seattle's comeback erased a ridiculous historical narrative. Amazon's broadcast pointed out the Seahawks had never pulled off a comeback from that size of deficit in the 4th quarter, 0-172 all time in similar spots. They changed the number to 1-172 in one night. That's the kind of line that makes sports jerks say it's a fluke and makes fans say, we live for this. Why this matters for the playoff picture for Putinkammer. For Seattle, this is huge. It puts them squarely in command of the NFC West and injects life into their postseason push. Momentum like this, generated by clutch plays and fearless decisions, can elevate a team mentally and physically down the stretch. For Los Angeles, the loss stings in two ways. One, it was winnable via standard execution. Two, the Rams now have to ask hard questions about late-game defense and situational tackling. They still control a lot of their destiny, but losing games like this is how a season slips away. 3 quick angles to watch next week. Can the Seahawks defense keep the doors from swinging wide? If not, that win might feel pretty hollow. How does Matthew Stafford bounce back? He showed he can still make big throws. Can the Rams defense match him in practice adjustments? Which team handles the mental aftermath better? Momentum is fragile. The next 2 games will say a lot. Closing. The kind of game you'll rewatch. This is the sort of wild, unpredictable NFL moment that becomes a highlight reel state. Punt return TD, a controversial replay, late veteran heroics, and an OT gamble that actually finishes the story. It's messy, beautiful, and exactly why Sundays and Thursdays are appointment viewing. If you like this breakdown, hit like, subscribe, and drop a comment. Who was your MVP of the comeback? Rashid Shaheed's return, Sam Darnold's late poise, or Jackson Smith-Jigba's clutch catch? Also, if you want a deep breakdown of the 2-point conversion rules and how that replay ruling worked, say the word and I'll unpack the film. No fluff, just the good stuff. When Sam Darnold threw his second interception on Thursday night, there was no reason to believe the Seattle Seahawks were still alive. The Los Angeles Rams had controlled the game for most of the night. They were sharper, more physical, and far more consistent. Seattle had never won a game in franchise history when trailing by 15 or more points in the fourth quarter, sitting at 0-172 in those situations. With just over 8 minutes left and the scoreboard reading 30-14, this one looked finished. Then everything unraveled. Seattle's comeback began with special teams. Rashid Shaheed fielded a punt and exploded down the sideline for a 58-yard touchdown, instantly injecting life into a stadium that had gone quiet. The Seahawks converted the 2-point attempt, cutting the deficit to 30-22 and flipping the momentum in a matter of seconds. After a quick Rams 3-and-out, Darnold struck again, hitting tight end A.J. Barner for a 26-yard touchdown. What followed was one of the strangest 2-point conversions the NFL has seen in years. The pass initially appeared incomplete, but replay showed the ball traveled backward, making it a live lateral. Zach Charbonnet calmly picked it up in the end zone, and suddenly the game was tied with more than 6 minutes remaining. The Rams had chances to end it. They moved into field goal range late in regulation, but their kicker pushed the attempt wide right, keeping Seattle alive. Neither team scored again before the clock expired, sending the game to overtime. Los Angeles struck first in the extra period. Matthew Stafford found Puka Nacua on a crossing route, and the receiver raced 41 yards for a touchdown that seemed destined to be the final blow. Instead, the Seahawks answered once more. Darnold led a composed drive down the field and connected with Jackson Smith-Jigba for a touchdown inside the 5. With the game on the line, head coach Mike Macdonald made the bold decision to go for 2 and the win. Darnold rolled out and found Eric Saubert, who hadn't recorded a catch all night, uncovered in the flat. Saubert secured the ball, and the Seahawks completed one of the most improbable comebacks in NFL history. Seattle turned a 16-point fourth-quarter deficit into a 38-37 overtime victory, rewriting franchise history and stunning a Rams team that had been on the verge of seizing control of the NFC. What looked impossible for 3.5 quarters became a reminder of why no lead is ever safe in the NFL.